to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Marketing Pulpit Show on this beautiful Friday in December. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses. We are saving businesses. That's my mission, my purpose, my cause célèbre, my raison d'etre. And so glad to be here today. You can find out more about me and the show by going to marketingpulpit.com. You can go to gatewoodmarketing.com to find out more about our services. We are an advertising and business development agency, and we are glad to be able to meet you every Friday and to provide services that our business community needs. Everybody can afford me. I mean, I admit I'm not cheap, but that sometimes affordability is not a good enough reason not to provide a much needed service. So what we do, we make this show available to anyone. All you need is a computer or an iPhone or Android, whatever, flip phone, a bugaboo, whatever that big phone with the big numbers on it, whatever it is. Just go to Marketing Pulpit or go to our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we are on LinkedIn, and we're also on Facebook Live. Broadcasting also, simulcasting on Radio 1's 95.9 FM out of the Washington, D.C. area and 1450 AM. But you can get this information all over the world, all over the globe. Let's see, what's going on? We've got a lot going on today. We're going to talk about old Santa Claus. He's getting a little antsy this time of year. But some of you all might get a lump of coal this year because Santa gets a little testy this time of year. You know, these coal miners out here, I was wondering, what are we going to do for all this coal since everybody now is going to clean energy and ecologically friendly? Well, thanks to good old St. Nick and some of you guys who are misbehaving, the coal miners are in good shape this year because Santa's going to be dishing it out. Many of you are going to be getting coal in your stockings this year. But I'm going to show you how to avoid that. With my sermon today, we're going to talk about, have you been naughty or nice when it comes to branding your business? So that's coming up at the in a few minutes after the break. Got a lot of other things going on in the news. I'd like to find out, want to talk about our good sponsor, BLE Executive Suites, who brings this show to you along with Gatewood Marketing and Web. We take care of your location needs. There's an old saying, location, location, location. You have to have locations to succeed in business. But thank goodness this show covers your virtual online location needs through Gatewood Marketing and Web by going to gatewood.biz to register your domain, set up your WordPress website, get your SSL certificates, and anything you need to get a website on the internet, and your physical needs. If you are a government contractor, for instance, and you need that physical address, that physical location, then you can qualify through BLE to get through the SAM certification. And if you want to get into the hub zone, where there's other money that's set aside through the government, you can get into the BLE location at College Park. They have two other locations. They have the Largo Center and they have the National Harbor. So when it comes to location, we have you covered right here on the Marketing Pulpit. Now, also starting next month, First Friday is back. I know you guys have been asking, when is First Friday coming back? Well, we're coming back. It has a slightly different look. We're going to be meeting during lunchtime now at BLE in Largo. They have this great, luxurious meeting room on the first floor where BLE has its flagship office. And so what I want you to do is to go to Marketing Pulpit, and there's a banner on the right side. And if you want to start the new year off right, mindset, we're going to focus on the business mindset. Miss Bernadette Clay, the president and CEO of BLA suites that you hear me talk about every week. She's going to be there. She's going to be facilitating. I'm going to be emceeing, keeping the things moving along and making sure we get this thing off on the right foot. But we're going to have somebody who is extremely successful running this event, Miss Bernadette Clay. She's going to give you her thoughts on some of her secrets to success. If you want to be successful, do what successful people do. So go, if you're in the DC area, or if you're going to be in the DC area on the first Friday of every month, starting in January, go ahead now and let them know, get your seat, because seats will be limited. It's going to be off the chain. I'll be there. Miss Bernadette Clay will be there. And a lot of great other business owners going to be there sharing information on how to get your business into 2023 successfully and taking care of that mindset. All right, what else we got going on? We're going to talk about what's going on in the news. Also, we're going to have if you go to BLE Suites, also if you want to get their services, they're offering right now a free 3-month service to the one who gets this question, this softball question that we're going to be offering, putting on the table today. This is still out here. Who can give me what the acronyms NAICS, NAICS, is a government contracting term, and the first one calls in with the answer. We're going to give you a free 3 months of BLE Executive Suites, mailbox, and business address services. And that's a pretty good deal, I'm telling you. And to sweeten the pot, we're going to throw in a free domain from Gatewood Marketing and Web. The number is 1-800-450-7876. 1-800-450-7876. Let's see if you can scroll that across the screen so you don't, just in case you are sitting near your computer there. And you can also watch the show live. If you're listening by phone right now, you can actually watch the show live and see my ugly mug. Well, that might be a discouragement to watch the show live, but you can see me and find out more about the past shows by going to marketingpulpit.com, or you can go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Let's talk about some items in the news. We're going to also recognize some of our listeners who are tuning in today. I see Brother Gerald Brown, one of the greatest plumbers in town. Love that brother. He's just been hanging in there with us through the years. Great man. He's a great community leader. Also, Bradley Thomas, attorney Bradley Thomas, another great leader. He's been working over in the DC area. He's a politician. He's an attorney. He's a musician, and he's got some events coming up this holiday season. I'd like for him to share with us in his feed so we can get that feedback. Also, Brother Brown says he's ready to come to that first Friday. Brother Brown is going to be at BLE at 9701 Apollo Drive. We have a banner on the Marketing Pulpit website. You can click on that banner, get all the information. Go ahead and register now so I can see that you're coming, and I'll give you a shout out so people can know you're coming and they can come on out there and support you. Let's talk about some items in the news. We're going to talk about branding and why Santa Claus may give you a hunk of coal this year. Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you what, some of the news items we're going to talk about today really focuses on branding and how some people have been really misbehaving. I don't know if anybody followed the story about the nurses over at Emory Hospital, and they were not too happy about some of the patients. They talked about people buzzing the desk, and ones that somebody wants to shower before the procedure, somebody wants blankets. Well, anyway, they did a TikTok, and the patients were not too happy about it. So, first of all, why would you put something like that on TikTok? I've been telling people all year long, social media will be your undoing. So that's a branding fiasco for Emory Hospital, and they're now, I think they fired the young ladies, and so that's a story that's been out there. Also, I'm not sure how many of you have been following the story at Good Morning America, where Amy Robach and TJ Holmes, they got into a little, we talk about war in the workplace every week. Well, they kind of flipped it a little bit, and they turned it into love in the workplace. And of course, Disney, which is supposed to be this family-oriented company, they were not too happy that two of their star personalities were kind of getting a little too friendly off camera. Well, they were pretty friendly on camera too, but after the lights went off, really the lights went off. Another branding fiasco. So what companies have been doing, well, let me tell you one more. Our good old buddy Dave Chappelle, he was had a concert recently, and he thought, I don't know what prompted him to do this, but he invites Elon Musk onto the stage. And of course, there's been no love lost between the public and Elon Musk. He's been firing people. He let Donald Trump back on the platform. The number of N-words has gone up like 500% since he's taken over. So why would Dave Chappelle think that it would be a good idea to bring Elon Musk onto his platform? Now we call that an unforced error in the land of the branding. So we're going to tie all of this together in our sermon today on why some of you, companies big and small, might get a hunk of coal from Santa this year because of some of the misgivings in the branding area. We assume that branding is just something that just happens and it doesn't affect our companies. Well, I beg to differ today, and we're going to talk about that on the show. I also want to welcome my brother Leonard Riggs from L. Riggs and Associates. If you're looking for a job and you want a good paying gig, then he has his company over there hiring people right now. So go to Leonard L. Riggs and Associates.com, and he's ready to bring on people. I think some of his agents are making like $500 a day over there. So go check him out. So folks, this is the Marketing Pulpit. Let's see, we're going to talk about a couple more items in the news, and then we're going to take a break and come back and finish things up. Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, the influencers are getting in hot water too. They're asking people to buy these cryptocurrencies. So folks, you got to watch what you put your name behind. We're going to talk about, that's also another branding issue. There's also free testing coming out again because we're having a slight surge. So we're having free COVID testing. And also 2 more states have restricted TikTok. TikTok has been restricted in Alabama, in the state of Texas, and in the state of Maryland. So they're claiming that the Chinese got some type of spyware on the platform. So TikTok has gotten into a little hot water. So there's a lot of things going on in the news right now. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. And after the break, we're going to talk about branding. We're going to talk about why St. Nick might be putting a hunk of coal in your stocking this year. So hang on a second. Don't go away. We're going to be back in a minute. This is the Marketing Pulpit. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. So hang on a second. We'll be back in a moment. A lot going on, and welcome back. We're talking about good old St. Nick. He knows if you've been sleeping. He knows if you've been awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Now you might ask yourself, how does Santa Claus know if you're going to get a hunk of coal for misbehaving when it comes to branding? You know what? your brand snitched on you. Because if you're not doing branding right, it can do more damage than good. That's why we're going to talk about this today. Also, a recurring theme on this show is how people are misusing social media. There was a blogger that stabbed a rival influencer on the streets, live streaming. So if you are an influencer, whatever line of work you're in, and you're out here on social media, just protect yourself, ladies and gentlemen. There are stalkers out here. Your competition knows where you're going to be. Your bad guys can follow you. So you want to kind of take those precautions. Now, this guy, I put him in the not so smart department. This guy down in Georgia, the police, the sheriff's department placed a list of bad guys on social media. And they said, look, guys, we're coming after you. Well, this one guy whose name wasn't on the list, he was like, hey, wait a minute. He actually went on to the website and said, hey, what about me? You left my name off. Well, of course, just a few minutes later, the police were knocking on his door. What is it? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. What is it about social media that causes people to lose their ever-loving minds? Also, let's talk about and then, like I said, the case over with Good Morning America. All of these things keep going back to social media, branding, the confluence of the two. We have to be smarter, and that's why Santa Claus this year is putting the coal miners back to work, because he's going to be hanging out coal in some people's stockings because you're being naughty when it comes to your brand. Let's talk about this for a minute. Now, your brand, for the record, your brand is a treasured and prized asset. It's prized by its owners and envied by the competition. So when you make a brand, you are making a promise to your customers. You're saying to your customers, this is who we are. This is how we carry ourselves in the world. And when you break that promise, then you have problems. And that's what happened over at Good Morning America, because Good Morning America is this family-friendly show. And you have your two married co-hosts on the air carrying on. And of course, they say they were separated from their respective spouses. But it's all about how you carry yourself and what your brand represents. Now, let me give you some pointers this morning that might keep you off Santa's naughty list, and that you might not have a lump of coal placed in your stocking that's hanging by the fireplace, because he doesn't have to check the list or check it twice if your brand is snitching on you. Number one, have a brand. Stand for something. Be known for something, whether it's your good pricing, your friendly service, your exceptional service, how you treat your workers. It could be your professionalism. And like in the case of Disney, you are a family-friendly platform. And when you do something that runs counter to that, as I stated earlier, when you break your brand, when you break the promises that you've made to your customer, then you are doing something counter to your brand. Santa doesn't like it, and he's digging up some coal for you. Another thing you want to do, and sometimes this gets a little controversial, but you have to be inclusive. I'm always telling people to cater to your target audience, but catering to your target audience is different than being myopic or short-sighted or narrow-minded. I'll give you a good example. This time of year, many people in the United States are celebrating Christmas, and I'm one of them. But the reason people say things like Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas, it doesn't mean that they're marginalizing or giving less homage to Christmas and everything that it stands for. It's just that Happy Holidays includes other people. And some of those other people, believe it or not, are your stakeholders. Even if it's not the stakeholders, it could be their family. I know I was working for a company down in Virginia many years ago, and half of the staff was Muslim. And so even though that was not the demographic of their target audience, but because employees are part of your stakeholder, you have to be aware and sensitive to their needs and their concerns as well. So yes, I celebrate Christmas like everybody else, but I'm also aware of the different faiths, and I wanted to include them because I know many of my clients are of different faiths. One of my favorite clients, she's a Muslim, and so I'm not being given any less honor to my faith by including other people in my well wishes. So if you do that, Santa might give you a half a cold, but he does want you to be inclusive. What I want you to do this time of year and always, treat your staff well, pay them well, give them good working conditions, because the word will get out if you are doing otherwise. How many times have you heard about a company where they're mistreating their staff and you change your mind about the perception of that organization? If you're doing that, if you're mistreating your staff, Santa is going to mistreat you, and he's got a lump of coal for you. Okay? Now, by the same token, it's another side of that same coin, you have to keep your staff in line. I don't mean with a whip or mistreating them. I mean, you have to let the staff know that when they go out, they are representing your brand. Okay? Like those TokTok nurses and their icks, whatever you call them, icks. They were giving all these examples of what type of patients they didn't like. When Amy and TJ was having this affair, this relationship, that went against Disney's brand of family friendliness. So, you have to, when you decide to go work for a company, this is for the staff, for the employees, you take an oath, if not physically, at least mentally, that you're going, because this is not your company, that you are an employee or a contractor, that you're going to abide by their rules. That just goes with the territory. If you don't like it, go start your own company. Then you can do whatever the heck you want. But as a company, you can't have your staff out there acting the fool and doing things that is counter to your brand, because if you do that, one, you're going to lose, your brand is going to be damaged, and Santa doesn't like it. He's got a lump of coal for you. That's another one. Let's talk about some other things. You have to manage your affiliations. You can't just be out here with everybody. You can't invite everybody to your party. You can't invite everybody to be on your social media platform. You can't be up here hugging and wrapping your arm around somebody who's racist, who's homophobic, who's misogynistic, who's narcissist. You have to keep a tab and make sure that the people that you align yourself with, who you are affiliated with, also are in line with your brand. Because if you do, they're going to say, if you hanging out with racists, if you hanging out with homophobic people, you hanging out with narcissists, then you must be one too. That is the mistake that Dave Chappelle made. A lot of folks they don't like Elon Musk. And by bringing him on the stage, that was a ding on his brand. We call that an unforced error. Now, something else I want you to do this time of year. Santa's really he's big on this. You have to give back. You have to be generous. You have to be kind. You have to help other people. Now, many of you out there have had a great year. You were blessed, and I'm proud of you. But you can't take that money to the grave with you. You've got to give some of it back because you didn't get there by yourself. So this time of year particularly, go ahead and drop an extra few coins in that paycheck. Go ahead and reward that company that has been particularly good to you in 2022. Do things to give back. Donate to charities. Help people that need help this time of year. That will go a long way towards helping your brand and keeping a hunk of coal out of your stocking for good old St. Nick. Folks, let me tell you, this is the time of year that all of us can show what we're really made of. It's not just about branding, it's about who we are as individuals. And that manifests itself through our companies. So I'm going to ask you to do this. Go out here and let your brand be one of the patches in your brand quilt. Let it be giving and thinking of others. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. I really appreciate you and thank you for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit every week. We had a great listening audience today. People are lining up over here. I see Brother Mitchell Gatewood. I see Brand Leader Model. And so many of you, I really appreciate you and what you've been doing. Keep doing what you're doing. I know a lot of these folks I just called out today. They're very generous and they're adhering to many of the things that I'm saying today. Folks, we'll be back next week right here on the Marketing Pulpit. And go out here and we'll be back next week and tune in again. And if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work. By giving good service, you are nurturing and building one of your most precious stakeholders, and that's your customers and clients. But because of how you handled it, and because of the mindset and the goodwill and brand that you put out there, you start to attract, if anybody here believes in the law of attraction, you start to attract other companies of like minds to be other stakeholders, such as joint venturers, such as partners, such as vendors, such as suppliers, such as staff. If they start to see your company and your brand in a positive light, it attracts positive influences and it's going to increase the trajectory of your company. If you are a business owner, you are a rare breed. If you are a business owner, you are a rare breed. If you are a business owner, you are a rare breed. You might as well admit it. People don't always understand business owners. And like we march to a different drum. And so sometimes you get into these discussions with people who have never done it. It's like talking to a brick wall. I mean, I'm not knocking people who are not business owners, but I do admit that business owners, we do kind of have a different way of thinking. I had somebody ask me the other day, said, Gatewood, I want to hire you to do my branding for me. Where do I get started? I said, you have already started, I hope. How are you treating your customers? How are you treating your staff? Are you making a difference in society? What kind of service are you putting out here? You're already branding whether you know it or not. The key is it the type of branding you want? You are messaging in every decision you make in your company. That logo that people claim to be the brand is just the iconic representation of the brand that you've already developed. Does the brand that you have already started represent where you want to be?